Welcome, welcome. This is going to be a cop watcher slash court watcher training video. Some of you may not feel I'm qualified. I don't mind. I'm still going to say it anyway. I'm going to get right to the point. I've written down a list of 10 issues that I believe would make the cop watching community a lot safer and the videos that they put out a lot more effective. Number one is distance. I'm going to show what I mean in this quick video here. I think it's a Black Label video. Let's fast forward a little bit. So out comes this guy, and watch the distance. She makes no effort to back away and to address the issue.
There is a judicial law or judicial order that says that you cannot take this building.
Can I see that order?
Yes, come on in. We're going to check your IDs too.
Okay, so he's right up on her. So if we're approached by cops, hey, what are you doing? What are you filming? Why? What's your name? You know how they start in. There's no reason why we have to allow them to get within 10 feet. Now this all starts, in my humble opinion, by, of course, always keeping the jury watching in mind and to start immediately speaking very politely and professionally. Not butt kissing, just politely and professional, confident, assertive type. So it'd be, good afternoon, sir. How are you today? Malazzo, I see your name is. What's your first name? I'm Becky, or whatever the heck. Right? If you can get on a first name basis, that can snap them out of the little training mode, and it appeals more to the humanity. And it shows on the video that you're trying to be friendly and cordial, right? An inviting type of thing. Hey, would you look, whoa, that's too close. For civilian safety, would you mind just keeping at least 10 feet away from me? I'll just speak up. We can hear each other just fine. But there's really no reason whatsoever for you to be within 3 feet of me. I consider that extremely unsafe. After all, you are armed and I am not. Just something along these lines. So distance is our friend. I don't know how many videos I've watched where it's not even a factor. They just let the cop walk up however close they want to. This is the opponent. They're armed to the teeth. And that walkie-talkie can bring all kinds of more weapons to the scene. So why are you letting them get so close? 15 feet is even better. I can see you from here. What that prevents is them being able to make any quick moves. In this video here, he snatches a camera right out, and he would have never been able to do that if she had asked, for him to stay away. Now, you don't try and make them walk backwards. You say, hey, I'm going to walk back 10 feet and just talk to you from here. That way it's a much safer environment. It's staying de-escalated, and we can communicate with mutual respect. You look like a professional. Can I expect you to act like a professional? I mean, a question like that's great. So keep the distance. Keep the distance, please. My second point I want to make is, everybody's just looking right at the cops with the camera in front of them. And of course, they're not in the shot. But a police officer is trained to gauge threat or to manipulate the perception of threat if this should ever come across a prosecutor's office or ever go up in a trial or civilian lawsuit, right? We are less threatening if we turn around. Now, if you're holding on a cell phone or whatever it is you're videotaping on, it's got a big screen, you can see it, right? What I would do from 10 feet away, at least 15 is better, is turn around, have your back to the cop, talk over your shoulder, and then hold up the video so that either your head is in it or your shoulder or something, so that you can see the cop in the screen over your shoulder. Now, you might think, well, that's kind of weird. That seems unsafe. Well, if you're farther away, you should be fine. You can see that cop plainly in the video, but you're using it like a rearview mirror. Plus, you can also have situational awareness of what's going on in front of you, because there's going to be other cops that are coming around, and they are trained to encircle if given an open space to do so. That's just how bullies and predators like to move. Okay, so I like the over-the-shoulder. Then you can also speak to your audience. If you make direct eye contact with the camera lens that you're shooting with, it's very relatable to the viewer. Again, we're always keeping the jury in mind. Make that direct eye contact. That's why they all do it on the news. They just stare into the camera lens. It's weird for them, it's weird for us, but do it. Just pretend the eyeballs of your viewers are on the other side of that lens. Connect with them, eyeball to eyeball, while you're maintaining all these standards of professionalism and courtesy, and you're just trying to film in public, right? You're basically, all we're doing is trying to increase accountability and transparency for what they do with public funds on public land, right? Okay, So if that's the case, there's no need to be confrontational. There's no need to go head-to-head, face-to-face from 4 feet away. That's just silly. So distance is our friend, 10 to 15 feet. Look at your camera over your shoulder. Look in front of you. Have good situational awareness. And use the eyeballs to connect with your viewer. All right. I know some of you don't want to be seen on camera. Wear a hat or something. All right. So that was my second point, was shoot over the shoulder. If you have to use a selfie stick, that would be fine for that, right? My third point was speak to the jury members and be professional. I pretty much just covered that. The fourth one was give reason for the filming. When they come up to you and say, why are you filming? I mean, sure, we can say it's none of your business, or those reasons are mine. You could say that, but it just cops a little attitude to the jury. What you could say that's much more effective is, well, for civilian safety, I'm trying to increase the accountability and transparency of what goes on here in this courtroom. Or if you're at a police station, you could say something like, well, there's an app being designed right now, and it's collecting a database of all police first and last names so that we can rate police officers with like a Yelp type app, so that the officers that are kind and respectful to the public will be rated very highly, and those who don't treat the public well at all will be rated very lowly, in the hopes that the bosses will see that, in hopes that the public will be more willing to work with police officers that show respect as to those who don't, and hopefully affect who gets hired and who doesn't, how cops act. So we're collecting information, public information, by the way, for a database to help accountability through an app on everyone's cell phone. I mean, it doesn't have to be that lengthy, but just something like that. What are they going to do? Talk to the jury. Hey, we're just building a database for an app that's like Yelp. It reviews police. In fact, you're being reviewed right now, and I assume that because you're going to act like such a professional, I'll be able to give you 5 stars. You can just make this stuff up. But to me, cops have never heard of an app for a Yelp app for cops, for judges, for lawyers, and if they're confronted with that in the moment, their training doesn't have a standard answer for it. All right, they're probably going to say, oh, well, who knows what they're going to say? They could ignore it, move on to something else, or they could say, oh, you can't do that, or they say, oh, that's fine. Who knows the response you're going to get? But it's responsive. It's, hey, I'm not a threat to you. You should say, get it out of your head that I'm some kind of weirdo doing some kind of creepy stuff. I am no threat to anybody. I'm not even armed. Or if you are armed, don't say that. That's your right. To carry a gun according to them, right? I'll carry one anyway, but anyway. So, give a reason. The jury would like to hear the reason. It's just a matter of being polite and courteous. Just make one up if it's not true. You don't have to tell the truth to these people. Right? Just say, I'm filming in public to increase accountability and transparency for the safety of civilians. We're making an app, creating a database so everyone's got every first and last name. I mean, we can already get any cop's home address, cell phone, and email. That's super easy. You guys live in a surveillance state too. But we're just trying to get cops to treat people right. And I assume you're going to do the same. You look like a professional. Are you going to act with professionalism with me here today? Just throw them off their game. Like, they don't hear nothing like that. Right? Just throw them off their game a little bit. So number 4 was, just give a reason. There's no reason to go, no. If you say, I don't have to tell you, in their training, you slide into potential terrorist category. We don't need to be in potential terrorist category, according to their training. We can get out of that super easily by saying, don't worry, I'm not casing the joint, right? I'm not filming for some future operation. I know you guys think in all scary military terms with all your huge guns, but we don't. All I'm armed with is a camera and the truth, and we're just increasing accountability and transparency through an app that's going to be reviewing cops like you with a Yelp-style system of like 5 stars. How many stars do you think I should give you? Just say anything to throw them off like that. It doesn't have to be true. All right. Number 5 is, if you can get a cop to tell you his or her first name and then start using your name, whatever name you want to use as your first name. It could be a nickname. They don't need to know what your legal name is. Use a nickname for your first name. Ask them what their first name is so that you can speak to them. Hey, Jason. Da, 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 da. Now, their training isn't going to like that because Jason isn't as authoritative as Officer Johnson, right? But you can break through that. Talk to the jury. Be like, I understand that you want to be called by your title, but you and I are just human beings on the street here. We're having a peaceful interaction. I mean, you have core values about customer satisfaction with the civilian population, and honor and integrity, all this stuff, right? Well, so do I. So what's the harm in us using our first names? That would be even better, right? It would be more familiar, like we know each other better. Really defuse, de-escalate the tension in the air. Make comedy, smile, laugh, right? See if you can get them on their first name. Now, they'd probably clown each other. You were talking to that guy and you told him his first name. He was calling you by his first name? Oh, that's a no-no. Don't do that. Be aware. They probably have training like that. But if you are the one who seeks, reaches out in that way, it's like the olive branch. It looks really good for any potential juries looking through your camera lens. Because here you are being super friendly and accommodating and polite and respectful. You don't have to mean all this stuff. You just have to say, just kill him with kindness. Just kill him with kindness. And the revenge through mockery is the best there is. These people know exactly how to deal with suspicious behavior and anger, but they don't have a clue how to deal with mockery. None whatsoever. They don't know what to do with the population that's laughing at them because they're so ridiculous with their silly costumes and their silly quote-unquote knowledge of the quote-unquote law. All right. If they're wearing sunglasses, ask for them to take them off. Because you're an armed man, and I like to know where your eyes are going, because you could make any dangerous move at any point in time for any reasons that you believe you have, whether you have them or not. And I'd like to know, as a matter of civilian safety, where your eyes are looking. If you want to stand your back to the sun so that nothing's in your face, that's fine. We can turn. But I'd appreciate it if you take your sunglasses off. All right. We're up to number 5. Number 6, look up any laws that they give you. Now, yes, this means if you're live streaming, you're going to have either assistants or 2 cell phone cameras with data plans. One to be live streaming and one to look up on the internet. Oh, that's such and such 4205, right? Well, look it up. Go to Google, whatever your state is, penal code 4205, whatever the hell they call it. Look it up and read it right there in front of them. Because very likely it's not going to apply to what you're doing. And then it makes them look silly, like they don't know what they're talking about while they call themselves a law enforcement officer. All these little reasons they come up, oh, it's against this law, it's against this law. There's nothing actually written down that says if they're standing in front of a public courthouse filming the public courthouse, you can charge them with this, threaten them with this, detain them for these reasons. They just do it because you're doing something suspicious. Detain you for something suspicious, so take away the suspicion. Look, there's no reason for you to be suspicious, okay? Like, all I'm doing is increasing accountability and transparency around here. I'm not casing the joint. I have no desire to do anything violent. I would never do anything like that. I'm a totally peaceful person. All right? And this is, of course, after you've maintained your distance, and we've already explained that. So make them look up any laws. All right? Number 7. If you get the second an officer enters into their training path of detainment and arrest, which is, you got any ID? Or what are you doing here? Anything that's not friendly, and most likely this will happen, right? Anything that's not friendly, ask for the supervisor. Oh, I can see that you are basically trying to ask me a bunch of questions to probably get me to incriminate myself so you can detain and or arrest me, maybe even hurt me. So I'm going to go ahead and ask for your supervisor, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you once the supervisor arrives. I don't trust you right now. I know what you're doing. I know your training. I know what you're trying to accomplish. And you have no reason to go down that path. I've been nothing but respectful and polite to you. So why don't we get a supervisor out here? Because I'm not going to talk anymore until the supervisor's out here. But I will talk to them. Obviously, this is being live streamed, Officer Malazzo. So you can't ever get rid of the footage. They're going to see this. And are you going to start making demands and escalate the situation? Or are you going to be professional and de-escalate the situation? Things like this. Number 8, call out every bully move. Okay? If a cop does something that a bully would do, call it out in very polite and professional terms. Now, hopefully you're at least 15 feet away with your back to the officer, filming him from over your shoulder. Like, if they come in closer to your range, call it out. I've asked you to please stay away 10 feet. I'm going to retreat even more to maintain that 10 feet. But every time you cross that 10 feet, you escalate the situation. You make me more nervous. You make this a more volatile situation. I'd appreciate it if you'd show me the same respect I'm showing you. And for civilian safety concerns, stay away, stay at least 10 feet away from me. It's not a difficult request, right? If he puts his hand on his gun and he rests it there like that, do not let that slide. Would you mind please getting your hand off your gun? There is no reason for your hand to be on your gun right now. You've got a horde of people behind you with the blue line. I'm out here with no weapons in your face. I have my hands on a camera. I am no threat to you whatsoever. Get your hand off your gun, please. Right? You got to call this stuff out. If you don't call it out and you let it slide, they're just going to move to the next step after that. Oh, they let that one slide. Let me see about this one. Oh, they let that one slide. Let me see about this one. If they actually detain you, you got to call that out. Sir, a detainment is an arrest without the handcuffs. That's all it is. Are you claiming that I'm being detained, and so if I try to walk away from you right now, you're going to tackle me to the ground and then put cuffs on me? Is that correct? Make them verbalize the threat that they are claiming to be able to do to you by the word detainment. Make them talk about the threat. A lot of them love to, their egos, oh yeah, I'm going to do this to you, oh, I'm going to do this. Yes, you'll be taken to the ground, you'll be taken into custody. You'll be jailed, arrested on the spot, things like this. Number 9. Courthouses are a great place for cop watching. They're really great places for interviews. You've got a captive audience. They come in and out of that courthouse. They don't want to be there. Most of them are there for nonviolent victimless crimes. These are people that will be supportive of people trying to hold judges accountable for this nonsense. Family court, divorce court, drug court, property taxes, taking away people's homes through asset forfeiture and whatnot. I mean, there's so many traffic courts. There's so many opportunities to do interviews. So on a non-windy day, unless you've got the right equipment, get out there with a microphone and maybe even a little freestanding sign, or maybe if you've got a helper or something, and make it funny. If you really, really, really want to hit the bullseye, put on your sign, has the prosecution provided any factual evidence regarding the element of jurisdiction, ? Put that sign out there and see what happens. You are going to annoy them more than any other words you could ever write on a sign through what I just suggested. And then start talking to people going by about, hey, you got just a couple minutes for an interview? If you want, I can have it off camera and just do the audio only if you're not comfortable with being on camera. And just talk to the people, make it light, make it funny. Hey, so if you don't mind, what are you here for? And do you think that's right? And are you happy about that? Or what's your opinion about that type of law, statute, or code? By the way, how do you know that all of these statutes and codes they write apply to you? Does it say anywhere that they apply to you? Is that in the Constitution anywhere? Or, what is the Constitution to you, by the way? And maybe have a list of the 10 amendments. What of these 10 amendments do you think you actually have all the time? All you have to do is say, hey, I'm exercising my 4th or 5th or 6th or whatever, 2nd or 1st Amendment, therefore leave me alone. Ask them questions like this. If they see you acting like a professional journalist with a camera doing interviews, you're going to be effective. You're going to be effective. And by effective, I mean protected. Not only are you going to have great content to put on your channel that I think will get a lot of views and shares, but you're going to be more protected because they'll realize that you're a person with subscribers, with potential attention. You're someone who looks good in front of a jury. You're someone who's acting with respect and comedy instead of anger and defiance. All right, so just something to think about. There's a lot of people going out there doing cop watching, but very few do it in front of courthouses, and that's why I chose this video to kind of. I'll just play it in the background, put the sound off. And the 10th one is, more remaining silent. Most all cop watchers do not know legalese, and you're not, speaking and trained as a lawyer would. That's to your detriment. Obviously, that's not something I can just give somebody. It takes a little bit of time and training and learning and whatnot, but unless you're that proficient, unless you're fluent in legalese, unless you can verbally dominate any cop, lawyer, or judge on the planet with a fair microphone, you really shouldn't be just improv style speaking with them and having conversations with them. The more silent you remain, the better. You certainly don't have to answer any of their questions. All right? But yes, more silent. But in a silent way out of respect. Oh, sir, see, that's another question you're asking me, hoping that I'll incriminate myself. You're trying to compel me to, speak against my own self-interest. I don't have the assistance of counsel here. I'm not going to do that. I know you think that a lot of people aren't smart enough to recognize what you're doing, but I am one of those few people who's smart enough to do it. Therefore, it's in my best interest to remain silent, with all due respect. And then from then on, with all due respect, I decline to answer your question. With all due respect, I decline to answer your question. With all due respect, I'm going to remain silent. Could you please stop asking me questions? Because as you can see, I'm not going to answer any of them. You know, I'm more remaining silent. So these are my quick 10 points. Just wanted to bounce it off you, see what you think. I'll be listening in the comments, whatever. If you have any counterpoints, that's all good. And we'll kind of go from there. What really started all this is, obviously I'm thinking about going cop watching, and I watch all the, cop watching videos that I can, and I'm, a lot of them make me nervous. It's like, man, I don't know if I want to get involved with cop watchers who are not very well prepared and very well trained and skillful and reliable under pressure and these types of things. If you want to know any more about my feelings about this, I have a video on here as well about, hey, I'm looking for cop watchers, and this is the type of person that you need to be in order to be a good cop watcher, according to my opinion. So there's that if you want to look it up. That's about all I got for the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. Take care.